Welcome back to the Profits of IT. I am Jim Punzenberger, your host, and the creator of the Managed Prospecting System. The Managed Prospecting System, we put you where your ideal prospects are looking, whether that be online, in their inbox, or on social media. Check out managedprospectingsystem.com. I'm excited to have Evan Eakin with me today. He's been in the industry quite some time and has a very diverse background. Evan, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience and tell us a quick bit about yourself and your background in the industry.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks for having me on. So you had said quite an extensive background in the industry. I would say I've met enough of the industry that people probably still look at me as a child in this, and then that's okay. I still have a lot to learn. But I am one of several founder investors that started Elevate. This is our 8th year, and our home office is in Denver, Colorado, just south of the city. And we serve a variety of customers in the on the SMB side. It's in the area of around 30 to 300 employee size companies. We've been doing that the longest. And then a couple of years ago, we invested and started a healthcare vertical, which serves non-system or independent hospitals and clinics. So that's a little bit about me and what we've been up to for the last 7 years here in Denver.
Cool. So what's something interesting about yourself outside of work?
I am happily married. My wife, Sue. I've got 3 wonderful adult raised children, none of whom are in Colorado anymore. And so it's exciting to travel and go see them. And we get to do that here in about 6 weeks. I have the honor of being asked to officiate the wedding of my oldest son, who's getting married. And so we're really tight family. And I'm just blessed by God to have that in my life.
Oh, that sounds like a wonderful part of your life. So
Thank you.
I guess let's jump right into it, and I'm going to hit you with another question here.
Go
Uh,
for it.
so, what would you contribute to what some people might call their superpower in business? What would you say that be? What might be some tips you have for somebody that might be looking to develop a similar superpower?
Yeah, I think that there is a lot that I did not and am still learning about this industry. And I feel like the superpower word is misplaced in a way because I don't have much to contribute to our space. I mean, our managed services and everything has been around for a few decades,
Hmm.
and especially in the last 5 to 10 years, has drawn great interest from investors, and a ton of outside capital is poured in, and it only makes it more exciting to be a part of this industry. But there are a lot of people that came before bootstrapping themselves and have been 20, 25, 30 years. I don't have that story. I don't have that background. And so I'm still learning in
Hmm.
that regard. I think the one sense that I would contribute, I like that word, as opposed to saying superpower,
What do you
is
contribute to
something
the industry?
that, yeah, something that we've been, it's been a principle of Elevate from day one, which is running a very disciplined, very tight organization that has always been structured to attract investment. So from day one, I've only ever thought about this business in terms of enterprise value. It's never been about technology. It's never been about um, fancy things that we can do with technology. There was a time where cloud was one of those. Now maybe we're
Hmm.
in an age where AI is one of those. That those are great. I don't want to say anything about that. You can build a really healthy business by focusing in those areas. What I decided, and some of the founder investors that came along, was we would always look at Elevate as any business ought to be looked at, evaluated in terms of what is the value it's creating. And that is okay to say, what value is it creating for shareholders? Like that's not a bad word in this industry. And so I have come up through my career, and I think we all would say we stand on the shoulders of giants. And there have been people that have taught me the value of thinking in terms of capital and investment, and the maybe I'll say the maturity that one ought to bring to a business that is trying to grow enterprise value and not looking at it as affording a lifestyle or a family legacy that endures, from generation to generation, but instead really sort of holding it out there that says this can be judged valuable by the market. And so principles that I've learned in tech companies, principles I've learned in hospitality, principles that I've just taken from other businesses that I'm a part of and peer groups and various other things outside this industry has always impressed upon me the ability to think in terms of capital needs in the business. Being able to raise capital, I think, is an important attribute that owner, lead managers, chair of boards need to always be thinking about. And that is a discipline. And it's something that I'm very proud at Elevate that we've been doing from day one. And I know there's going to come a time where that pays off for us to have had that focus from day one. It also reduces any sort of friction along the way. That when you're in it with investors and everyone's looking at it through the lens of enterprise value, it makes decisions very easy, and in some ways very selfless, because you're looking at it as a shareholder would look at evaluating investment A versus investment B and making a wise decision on the return on invested capital for that dollar. So I feel like it is something that's hard because there's so much opportunity to get distracted and to get invested in other areas. But I'm glad that we did that. So whether you call it a superpower or not,
Uh-huh.
I think it's just borrowing from the principles of wise business leaders in other industries and just getting that core to the business from day one.
So you assembled other basically a team of investors from other industries that you brought together to invest in Elevate.
That's right. In fact, it wasn't until our first recap that we did about a year or two in that we actually brought any capital that I would mark as subject matter expert. I'm blessed to have a partner now in this business that came in about that 2018, 2019 time period that had been very successful a couple of times over in this industry. And it's really the fingerprints of God on how we met and kind of came together. But when we formed the capital to start Elevate, none of us were industry insiders. We had an idea. We had developed about 35 versions of a business plan for this.
35, wow.
Well, yeah, and I still have some of those sitting in my archive somewhere in Excel. But to look back on some of the assumptions, they were just general business assumptions. Hey, in a recurring revenue business, with the revenue and what are our gross margin expectations and what does the compound annual growth rate of that business look like over 3 years, over 5 years, right? It's just you're just taking business principles and kind of slapping them into Excel. I would pull up one of those business cases that we wrote or business plans, one of those versions, and I mean we could have been in the farming industry, or we could have been in a ton of others because you just didn't know what we didn't know about managed services.
Uh-huh.
So it wasn't until we got into this, and then the benefit of getting into a peer group early, that I just owe so much to the graciousness that I found in this industry that has poured knowledge and kindness into several years where I just had to ask some really kind of dumb questions, like what is um, what is a platform that we ought to turn on if we're going to be serving this multi-tenant, recurring revenue
Hmm.
customer base. And of course, people are like, well, you don't know about ConnectWise, you don't know about Autotask, you don't know. I'm like, nope, I don't. So it's silly questions now where you look back and you're like, yeah, that you have to ask those questions. And I was part of a peer group, and again, after that first recap where we brought some subject matter expertise, I feel like that's where we were really able to start looking like what we are today, which is firmly you can see it doesn't take long to say, oh, this is an IT managed services business. It's not a farm.
Got it. So I guess I have another question for you. Is there some sacred cow that you would say that has been standing in the industry that you've tipped over or that you've gone against? Like what sacred cow might there be that you've challenged and how did you challenge it?
Yeah, it's something that I feel is both endearing to the industry as well as it is going to get in the way. And I would call it the cult of personality, the founder mentality. And again, I have learned from other businesses along the way, whether it's in school or in life and career pit stops I've had along the way, to always sort of see the ownership or a board as stewards of the business. So I've never been around cult of personalities. I was in the early Silicon Valley days. Well, early in mine, but in the early to mid '90s. I was in Silicon Valley when um, you still had Andy Grove at Intel, and some of these stalwarts of that. And maybe there was some cult of personality, a John Chambers at Cisco or something. Maybe there was some of that. Certainly, Steve Jobs, right? You can't help
Yeah.
but avoid, sort of the cult of personality there. But it wasn't anything that I felt restricted capital or the overall increasing of the compound annual growth rate of what they were a part of. And I see that in this space. I see founders that have a cult of personality that aren't looking to kind of, I believe a rising tide raises all ships. And so I think the attraction of capital into this industry, yes, it's had a lot of negative. There have been a lot of issues with the amount of capital that has come flooding into this space in the last 5 to 10 years. Look, I sell against it. So I know I leverage that. But I still believe that an expanding market, an expanding industry that attracts capital is the best to be in. And I think the cult of personality of that kind of founder mentality that is not desiring the capital pouring into the industry is going to hold back our industry. I'm not invested in their business, so I don't look at their enterprise value. If they are doing something on their own and they want to kind of grow it and however they want to run it, that's their business. What I'm a part of is the impact that this has in the industry. And what I want to make sure is we're running a business that is always attracting capital, whether it's directly into our business or it's into our local market of technology service providers or the national market that we serve. Like I see that as just good and opportunities to leverage that capital. So I feel like an obstacle that I sense is still standing in the way of this industry achieving the real heights that it could, and even get more attractive for investment capital.
Got it. So, Evan, I guess we got an opportunity here for an ask of the audience. Is there anything you'd like to have an elevator pitch for or ask for. Some guests use it to pitch a charity, or some guests use it to pitch anything they like. So give you that opportunity.
Well, I'll take the opportunity only because moment, we're sitting here on Thursday before Easter, and I would just let people know that God is a good God, and he has just been so amazingly gracious to me, and that I would want people this week, especially as we're looking at the cross and what Christ did for us, that's been an absolute gracious gift to me, and I am so blessed that my family and those that know me best, my business partners, my team, knows that that is just so special. And I would want folks to know how special it is to me, especially of all weeks, this being Holy Week. So it's a good opportunity. There's so much that I would pitch,
Mhm.
and I know I appreciate
Do
the
you have
opportunity just to express it.
any like specifics on how God has affected you and your business?
Goodness. Jim, you said we are keeping this to 10 minutes.
How
So
about like the ultra bridge version?
yeah, I believe God is in control of
Or
all things.
or like a tip for maybe somebody that's been struggling in their business and how they could
Yeah.
look to God
Yeah.
for uh
Well,
in
yeah.
that lens.
For one, it's been my involvement in C12 that's been a blessing to me, that has helped me understand that what I do in Elevate, I do make money for shareholders. That's my first job in this business, is to make money for shareholders. But that can be done in a way that is my ministry. And I would express to those that find it hard, um, see the work that you're doing in your business. It's handed to you by God. You're a steward of that, and you're called to be in ministry to our team, to our people, to fellow owners. I'm very close to some owners that are running similar businesses, and we're constantly going through challenges that we're facing, and we're praying for each other and everything. So that is what I would share, and I would always express to any of the people that listen to this to just give me a call, honestly, because that is something that is very special to me, that I have that community of people that know that the purpose of what I do in making money for shareholders is not the end purpose. This is just purely my call. This is just God's gifted me with the ability to do this. That's all. I don't bring anything to it, but maybe faithfulness in that call. And that's what you need. You need a community of people around you to just say, "Hey, yeah, let's endure together. Let's be patient together. Let's persevere together."
Got it. So you mentioned if reaching out to you, if somebody wanted to reach out to you, what'd be a good way of getting in touch with you?
Well, always email is there. So it's Evan at elevateservicesgroup.com. And I am, I have like a lot of people spam filters and such. So honestly, if there's an immediate reach out, like if anyone needs help or anything, it's probably just best to text me at my number. I don't know if you're going to make available, but I don't mind putting it out there: 303 250 2190.
We can
Um,
we can include that in the show notes.
yeah, honestly, it's like, what's the harm in connecting in this space? So email, I would say our website, elevateservicesgroup.com. You can find me through that channel, although that's probably more of a jump and a skip and a hop to get to me. So just text me directly, give me a call, and I'd love to meet people. I'm in a peer group now through Evolve that is yet again teaching and pouring into me wisdom and things like that. So if there's people out there that are in Evolve, we're getting together here in about a month's time in Chicago. So feel free to look me up and reach out to me there as well.
Got it. Well, thank you, Evan, for sharing. It's been wonderful having you on. I look forward
Yeah.
to hope that I like that
I
it's
took your breath away, Jim.
yes,
I
you
took your
have.
breath.
You're It's been a wonderful time chatting with you here.
Wonderful. Thanks, Jim, for taking your time. I appreciate it. Cheers.
Until next time on Prophets of IT, I am Jim Punzenberger, your host and the creator of the Managed Prospecting System. Be sure to check out managedprospectingsystem.com and keep her moving.